Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Bill. Thank you. We're so glad that you are here with us. We always like to begin our service here at Unity of Orange County with our vision and our mission statement. So, together, our vision is centered in divine love. We joyfully co create a world that works for all. And our mission is to awaken, inspire, and transform lives. And we always like to recognize the people that make the service possible. We have Bill on piano, and so grateful for that. And Tom is doing our sound. And John and Waverly are streaming. And Christopher is doing the camera. And Reverend Annie is our platform person today. So a couple of things we have beginning today begins our 40 days of gratitude, and we're starting today at 11 o'clock here. It's going to be on Zoom, and it's also going to be live here. So you can join us either at the church or you can join us on Zoom, and the number is up on your screen right now. But again, it's 821-5852. 2213. And this week we have our Divine Audacity class on Wednesday at 6:30, and then on Thursday it's never too late, also at 6:30. And if stress is getting you down, and stress is getting a lot of people down, because this is getting old, and you would like someone to pray with you to lift your spirits, you can email us at uocpray@gmail.com, and one of our prayer chaplains will contact you and pray with you. And if you want to know more about all of our upcoming activities, please visit our website, www.unityoforangecounty.org, and go on to our calendar, and there you see all the activities. And if you click on an activity, it will show you the Zoom number. And remember, when you're buying your stuff online at Amazon, to go into smileamazon.com. Everything is the same price, and put Unity of Orange County as your charity, and we get a small amount for everything that you contribute. So with that, I would like to bring up and introduce Reverend Annie for our daily word and our meditation.
The daily word for today, Sunday, October 18th, 2020, is steadfast. No matter where I may be on my path, sometimes my spiritual life feels easy and sometimes it feels hard. There are times I enjoy new insights, blissful clarity, and peace. Other times I may struggle, feeling stuck and directionless, or even lonely on my walk with God. At times like these, I renew my commitment to my spiritual path. Although my attention may have wandered, the divine presence within me has always remained steadfast, as near as my next thought. Wherever I am in space, time, or consciousness, I discover the love, strength, and wisdom of God expressing through me. And the scripture today is taken from Psalms 139th chapter, verse 9 and 10. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the forest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and at your right hand shall hold me fast. So as we move into the meditation, let us just know that right here, right now, right where we are, the presence of God is. Truly, there is no otherness, only the one. And it is with this awareness that I take the words steadfastness to heart, knowing closer than hands and feet, nearer than my very breath, the presence of God is. I no more can be separated from it than the waves can be separated from the ocean or the shafts of sunlight from the sun. The power, the presence, the love, the peace of God showers us and holds us in its eternal embrace, uplifting and enlightening us. The steadfastness of God. And we can just rest in the knowing that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, God's presence is always that steadfastness. And we can touch that steadfastness every moment. Sometimes we might need to remind ourselves to breathe in, to remember that steadfastness of God, to look around at the trees, the leaves on the trees, the blades of grass, the rays from the sun, a smile from our neighbor, a touch from a loved one, the steadfastness of God. So as we move into the silence for just a few moments, let us know that we take the warmth, the radiance, the color of God's beautiful presence with us, and we hold steadfast in knowing that God is. So we move into the silence, knowing the steadfastness of spirit.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Um, Today, we're continuing in our series of wisdom from the world religions, and today we're going to look at Sufism. So, the Sufis have been thought of as being part of Islam, but there's actually historians who say that it existed long before Islam, that it was actually in the world even before Islam came into the world, but that they found a home in Islam. They found a place that they kind of fit in. But there's some really big differences. They both believe in one God, Allah, and all of that. But in Islam, they believe that the way to God is through the Quran and through Muhammad and doing certain practices and reading certain books. And Sufism is all about going within. It's all about the experience of God as opposed to learning about God. And in Sufism, one of the words they use for God is beloved, because the Sufis believe that God is love and that this love is found in the heart. It's not found out there, it's not found up in the sky, it can't even be found in a book. It has to be experienced by going within to our heart center. That this love, the beloved, is a part of us and we are a part of it. That there's no way that you can separate the two because it's all one. And everything is part of that one. So there's everything in the universe is part of this same one that we are a part of, and that you experience this part within. And when we think of Sufis, we think of the whirling dervishes. And one of the reasons they whirl is because it's to get out of their minds and into the experience of God. There's many ways to do it, and that is one of it. And through that whirling, they begin to forget themselves and feel that experience of oneness with God. So there's a story of a woman by the name of Karen Kavanaugh, and she was a wife and a mother and lived a regular life and got into a really bad accident and was severely injured. I mean, her spine, she was in a coma a long time, and her family was told that if she ever got out of the coma, she would never walk again. Well, while she was in the coma, she remembered something she read by Rumi. And Rumi is a Sufi poet who is very well known. And this is what she heard. And this is in her coma, she hears these words. I have lived on the edge of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on a door. It opens. I've been knocking from the inside. So you have to understand that Sufi stories are not meant to get like, oh, yeah, I got that. It's meant to go within and take it within and find that meaning. It's kind of like, Zen stories are the same way. And even Jesus taught in parables. And when he taught the parables, and even today, a lot of people read the parables, they go, what is he talking about? You see, because you really have to experience the wisdom that is God within. You can't experience from just some words. So anyway, she hears this in a coma, and she comes out of the coma, and she believes that this path of Sufism is her way of healing. And so the doctors tell her that she's never going to be able to walk again. And what she does, her affirmation is, I am going to dance again. And so she goes into study. She went with a master Sufi teacher, and she really got into it. And when everybody was dancing, she was just meditating because she couldn't move. And she just spent all this time allowing this beloved to become a part of her. And she slowly begins to heal. And if you've ever watched them whirl, it's a lot harder than just walking, because they're really moving around in this circular thing. And she has this dream that she's going to be able to do this. And so she slowly starts healing and walking and everything. And then she finally begins to be able to twirl. And she decides to travel out of the country and get, I'm not certified, but like become a master. In other words, actually become a master at this. So she goes, and you have to go in front of this audience of people, Sufis, watching you, and then there's the masters there judging you, and she's whirling. And she said when she started whirling, she first began thinking, okay, I have to get rid of my thoughts. I have to get into God. But see, she was in her head. And you can't experience the beloved in your head. You can only experience the beloved in your heart. And so she's whirling, and she said, all of a sudden, all the thoughts went away. And she began to really whirl. And she actually got to be a master at it. And this is a woman who they said would never be able to walk, would never be able to move. And so she decided to really pursue this, to teach it, and she's still doing it. So this idea of the beloved is like, it's really hard to explain, because if you've ever had the experience, if you've ever gone into a meditation or prayer where you almost forget who you are, and all of a sudden you feel this love. And, we think of the word love, we think of it in human terms. But the thing about human love is very iffy. They'll love you if, or I'll love you as long as, or I'll love you unless you do this, or I'll love you unless you don't do that. And so it's the closest thing I always feel to the kind of love when I think of with God love is a dog, which is God backwards. Because think about it, I don't know how many people have had a dog. So, dogs love you no matter what. It doesn't matter what you do, that dog is going to love you. You can leave them, you could forget them. Have you ever seen these videos of people returning home from 2 years of war? They haven't seen the dog in like 2 years, and the dog may not recognize them from afar, but as soon as they get the scent, they know who it is, and the dog is always, the dog doesn't go, you left me for 2 years. Why did you do that? If you loved me, you wouldn't have left me. The dog is like, oh, I'm just so happy you're here. I love you. Let me show my love. That's God. If we go away from God and we come back, God isn't like, well, I'm sorry. You forgot about me, so I'm going to forget about you because, that's the way it goes. That kind of love is not the kind of love that you see with. If you've ever heard a Sufi teacher talk about Sufism, it's all about this love, this beloved, this feeling in the heart, this like yearning that's fulfilling. It's amazing. Listening to them is just so powerful. And when I had my spiritual experience, that's what I felt. I didn't believe in God when I got on my knees, but something happened. And the best way to describe it, it was like I was surrounded by love, and the love was all around me, and the love was within me. It's like, where does the love begin and where does the love end? And I didn't know anything. There was no Jesus. It was just love. And when you believe in love as God or the beloved, then there's nothing to fear. You see, we fear God because we believe that God is judging us and that we're going to get punished, or we're not doing something right. We're not saying the right prayers. But when we believe in love, this pure love, there's nothing we have to worry about. Because how does love judge? Love doesn't judge. Love isn't unforgiving. Love just loves. So Rumi is well known, and he has some beautiful things. And these are just some of Rumi's quotes. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all the time. I once had 1,000 desires, but in my one desire to know you, all else melted away. You'll never find me, for I have been with you from the beginning of me. Patience is not sitting and waiting. It is foreseeing. It is looking at the night and seeing the day. Lovers are patient and know that the moon needs time to become full. And there is a subtle truth. Whatever you love, you are. And here's one more. Love is the whole thing. We are only the pieces. And if I love myself, I love you. If I love you, I love myself. So it's hard to love someone else when we don't love ourselves. You know, we're so used to in our society of looking for love in all the wrong places and spending a lot of years doing it. I know I have the t shirt and the hat and everything else. And, you know, we're looking for it and we can't find it. And then I went to this therapist who said to me, well, how can you find love if you don't love yourself? So instead of looking for love, you need to be learning to love yourself. And then once we learn to love ourselves, then we can have love. Because why should someone love us if we don't love us? Right? How can we expect someone to love us when we don't love us? So Sufi stories are really interesting because they're like I said, they're not stories that often you hear and you go, oh, yeah, wow, that's, but they're stories that make you think. So I love this story. Wise fool Mullah Nasruddin, which is in all the stories, he represents the wise fool, was often losing his donkey. Once, while he was looking for it, he was walking through town, singing and giving thanks to God. Why are you so joyful, Mullah? His friends asked him. We thought you had lost your favorite donkey. I did, my friends, he responded, but at least I wasn't riding it at the time. If I had been, I would be lost too. So this is like just the kind of typical thing. I love it. So Rumi says, the inner being of a human being is wild nature, a jungle. If you are aware of yourself as part of the divine breath, be very aware when you travel inside. So I love this story, which is about traveling inside. So there was this famous Sufi mystic by the name of Rabia, and she was searching for something on the street outside of a little hut. And the sun was setting and darkness was descending. And as a few people gathered around her, they said to her, what have you lost? What are you searching for? Perhaps we can help you. And she said, I have lost my needle. And one amongst the people said, well, the sun is setting now, and it will be very difficult to find the needle. Where has it fallen? That'll help us narrow down the area on this big road. If we know the exact place, it will be easier to find it. And she told them, it is better not to ask me that question, because actually, it has not fallen on the road at all. It has fallen inside my house. Now they're all like started giggling and figuring she was joking. And then a skeptic says out loud, we always knew that you were a little insane, right? Which certainly would happen today if you did that. If the needle has fallen inside the house, then why are you searching for it on the road? And she replied, for a very simple reason. Inside the house, there is no light, and on the outside, a little light is still there. Now the people really started laughing, you know, and they started dispersing. And she calls them back and she says, listen, that's exactly what you are doing. I was just following your example. You go on seeking bliss on the outside world without asking the most fundamental question, where exactly have I lost it? And after a pause, she continues, you have lost it inside, and yet you are looking for it on the outside for the very same reason. Your senses are outward bound. Your ears hear sounds on the outside. Your hands touch things on the outside. That's the reason why you are searching outside. For a very long time, I was also searching on the outside. But the day I searched inwards, I was surprised. That's where I lost it. And that is the only place it can be found. So this goes back to that looking for happiness on the outside, looking for what we're missing in life on the outside. If we only have the right house, if we only have the right relationship, if we only have the right car, if we only have the right job, if we only have whatever, if we only have this, then we will be happy. And the thing is, we can't find it out there. because it's not out there that we've lost it. We've lost it inside. We have forgotten that inside is where the joy comes from. Inside is where true happiness comes from. Inside is where God is. And we can't find it looking outside. And Jesus said it this way in Matthew 6:6. Whenever you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Reworded in the Message, which is this great Bible that puts everything in normal words that we can understand. It says, here's what I want you to do. Find a quiet, secluded place so you won't be tempted to role play before God. Just be there as simply and honestly as you can imagine. The focus will shift from you to God, and you will begin to sense His grace. So we have to give up this idea of looking for God outside. I mean, we love our church, but it isn't found in a church. It isn't even found, and I've certainly gone to the ocean, seeking God and top of mountaintops and all these beautiful places. And although you can sense the splendor of God and you can sense the fullness of God, you can't experience God because God is within us. The beautiful meditation that Annie did, it's like the wave in the ocean. There's no separation. It's all one. It's all one, and we are part of God, and God is part of us. But we keep looking for the thing that's going to make it perfect. So there's one more Sufi story. And in this tale, the same fool, Nasruddin, and his friend are sitting in a cafe drinking tea and talking about life and love. And just hear this story and see if you ever fit in this story. And his friend says to him, how come you never got married, Nasruddin? And he goes, well, to tell you the truth, I spent my youth looking for the perfect woman. In Cairo, I met a beautiful and intelligent woman with eyes like dark olives, but she was unkind. Then in Baghdad, I met a woman who was wonderful, generous soul, but we had no interests in common. One woman after another would seem just right, but there would always be something missing. Then one day I met her. She was beautiful, intelligent, generous, and kind. We had everything in common. In fact, she was perfect. Well, what happened? Didn't you marry her? His friend asks. And he looks at his tea and he sips it reflectively and he says, well, it's a sad thing. Seems she was looking for the perfect man. So in partnerships, whether that be our partnership with God or in partnerships with people in the world, we tend to judge. We tend to look at the imperfections. We tend to look at what's wrong, never realizing that usually the things we see that are wrong within us. Because people tend to be a mirror of us. And the same thing happens with God. If we have trouble having this really deep relationship with God, the issue isn't God or Allah or the beloved or whatever you want to call it. The issue is us. If we feel that God is judging us, guess what? It's probably because we're judging people. If we we feel that God has not forgiven us, guess what? It's probably because we haven't forgiven someone. We just put on God the characteristics that we have within. And so we see our imperfection in God. Instead, why not try and find the perfection of God within us? Begin to not see what is missing in us, but see what is perfect in us. So close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. And I want you to center your awareness to your heart. And I want you to begin to see that heart filled with a perfect love. Some people may call God father or mother, but those words are so limiting. So as you're picturing this love, picture the word beloved. Because we are loved and we love. And our heart, let your heart fill up with this love that judges not, asks for nothing, doesn't even have to forgive you because it's never blamed you. This love that is hard to separate from the love that comes from within your heart. For it is all the same. As without within, as within without. Just like a drop of water or a wave in the ocean, it can't be separated. Because it's all one. If you have no love in your life, begin loving yourself. Seeing yourself as the beloved sees you. As your dog sees you. Perfect. Whole. The thing I feel that attracts so many people today to Sufism is this understanding of this love that is so much deeper than making God some person with all the attributes of us humans. The beloved is love perfected. And when you understand that same love is within you, and you truly experience the oneness of this love, you will stop looking for that needle outside. And whether there's light or no light inside, you will know that the only place to find it is the place you lost it, and that is within. So stop looking outside for what you perceive you do not have, and begin to spend time in the silence, finding it within, because it has always been there, since before time and long after. And for that awareness that the beloved loves us, and we are loved, and we are loved, we say thank you. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Here at Unity, we have 5 basic principles that we believe, and we always like to affirm those principles, and so let us affirm them together. Number 1, God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. And 2, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. And 3, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and feel and believe. And 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And 5, I do and give my best by living the truth. I know I make a difference. And one way we make a difference is through the law of giving and receiving. And so if you're here in person, you may drop your gifts off in our basket on the way out. If you are watching us online and you wish to give a gift, you may take your phone or computer in your hand. You can give on the web at our website. You can give and text to 77977 and put Uni of OC Give. Or you can write a check and mail it in to us. Our address is on our website. Either way, and if you don't have a gift to give, I invite you to offer your blessings, to just put your hands together and to say this prayer from our hearts together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful. Thank you. And next week, join us. We're going to be talking about Taoism, which is another one if you want to hear stories that you don't understand. A good Taoist story is just the place to go, I guarantee you. And so let us close with our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And God bless. Have a great week. Have a safe week. And see you next week. God bless you.